What's going on, sci-fi fans? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for another episode of our Lando Falcon here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Today we're going to be pushing forward here on the Falcon and I'm hoping to get a lot of stuff done, get this thing more or less wrapped up. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. As you see here, we have the upper and lower portion of the hull overcoated with some primer and also pre-shaded, and we have insignia white over both sides. So I'm looking pretty good with that. I want to go ahead and jump right in here for our first time lapse though, because there are some panels that need to be painted here on the bottom portion of the hull. Once that is done, we can then gloss coat everything, move over to decals, and then finally seal it. And of course, a couple of different parts and pieces here and there to glue on and get it one step closer to being finished. So let's go ahead and jump in here, guys. Let's get this party started and see what we can do. Get this thing looking like the Falcon. Alright everybody, so we are back, and I gotta say those decals went on beautifully. So now we're gonna move over there to the last little bit of lighting, and that is the LED and the fiber optics for the lower surface of the saucer. That of course means we have to pick and choose where we're gonna place our LED light source, and then we have to string in the rest of the fiber optic light pipes and glue everything down. So that's gonna be a little tricky, but I think I can manage it. We're also gonna have to go ahead and bloom each of the fiber optic ends so that we can go ahead and pull them back into the saucer and then just glue them down and they won't go anywhere. They'll have a nice convex shape. They'll look a little bit more like a lens, and we can move on from there. So let's keep it rolling, guys. We are getting there. This thing is starting to come together for sure. With all the LEDs in, we've tested them all, they work, so I am really happy with how that has turned out. One thing I do need to go ahead and do though before we seal everything up is I need to paint the grills right here on the very back of the engine. That's not going to be hard. I'm just going to pull them off, paint them with some primer, then hit them with some Insignia white, and we're good to go. So give me 1 sec, let me take care of that. And we are back. Those are all nicely painted. Everything looks good. We're going to go ahead and take them right off of this tape, stick them right back down to the engine, and then we can install the engine into the back of the Falcon. And then at that point, I think we are ready to go ahead and finish up the last little bits and pieces on the inside and seal the top portion of the hull to the bottom portion of the hull. In the next episode, come back and we can start weathering it. I don't want to do anything too heavy in terms of weathering, but I do want to add in a little bit of dirt, a little bit of, grime, just a tiny bit, because this is actually a very clean ship as opposed to like Han Solo's Falcon, which is absolutely a mess. Let's go ahead and attach the engine back into the rear of the Falcon, and then we can string that last cable through, and I think we're ready to go ahead and close her up. Now we'll go ahead and attach the upper surface and the lower surfaces together. Want to be real careful here, guys, not to pinch or get any of the wires or light pipes trapped between the locating tabs for the upper and lower saucer. This isn't actually too bad though, it fits decently. We're going to work from back to front, making sure that we have all those tabs pressed in as firmly as possible. All the wires are already strung through, everything works, so I shouldn't need to get back in here for any reason. Not going to glue it though, we're just going to press them down and lock them into place. So far so good. Let's also go ahead and grab the top of that escape pod right here and go ahead and just tuck that underneath the front of the actual top of the hull, and then we'll push it back and push it down. So yeah, that's actually a really good idea to leave this off just so that I can make sure that everything lights up on the inside and everything is good to go for fit. So I think that was a good call to make. And this is as it turns out right here. We have everything attached. The upper and the lower portions are on. We've got the pipe installed up inside. We've got all the wires pulled down through. And to be honest, I think it looks pretty good. I use a little bit of super glue just to go ahead and make sure that that pipe's not going to go anywhere. And to be honest, it's not the best location for a support, but it's the one I had to work with. So we just went with it. While that's drying off camera, let's go ahead and turn our attention over to the base. Now the base is one of those areas that I've been really hesitant on because I'm not sure what to do with it really. So in the last couple of months, I've been watching videos and really kind of getting some inspiration and looked at other YouTubers such as Smuggler's Room, Punished Props, all these guys, and I got some ideas I think will actually be really helpful. So this is just a basic unfinished planter box. I picked it up off of Amazon. I actually got 2 of them. Kind of rough, needs some sanding. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is use this, turn it upside down here, and then we'll go ahead and attach the Falcon to the top of this. Just drill a hole or something and drop it through. We're also going to go ahead and install what are basically called greeblies, which are just a bunch of random things, electronics, circuit boards, whatnot, just put them all on top of it to give it a little bit more Star Wars-y look. But we're not going to go ahead and mount those to the wood. In fact, we're going to be using this right here. And this is 1 millimeter thick craft foam. Very simple stuff. I think it's very similar, if not the same as like EVA foam. So you can use it easily. You can cut it. It actually is a really nice material to work with. So this is my first time really using it here on one of these types of sci-fi projects. And I think I've got some ideas that are going to make this look awesome. So let's go ahead and jump into our last time lapse, guys. Let's do some preliminary work on the box, figure out what kind of design we're going for, and just kind of get a feel for the aesthetic. It's not perfect, guys. I won't finish it in one episode, but I think we have some good ideas. Let's see what we can come up with. Alright guys, so we are back, and as you can see, I've got a couple of ideas going here. I'm not sure what's going to stay and what's going to go ahead and be changed, but as you can see, we've got a hard drive motor that I pulled out of a dead hard drive. That's up at the upper corner there. I also have some other foam sheets that I cut out, and we're going to stack them up. We're going to make a little bit of a switch area right here on the lower left. That's going to be kind of cool. We'll make a couple of other areas here on the upper left and upper right, and I think we'll then go ahead and mount the Falcon down to it, and we'll have a very interesting looking base once I go ahead and paint it. I thought about going ahead and mounting it on an edge, say either the left edge or the right edge or even the top edge. I think it looks a little bit better on one of the edges than it does in the very middle, because then it just kind of throws it off balance. So I think, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and stick to the upper edges of the actual box, drill a hole down through the top of everything once I'm closer to being finished with it, and then we can wire it up and go ahead and make sure it's not going anywhere. So this is interesting though. I've got a couple of other ideas. Let me go ahead and toss the rest of the parts on and I'll show you what I'm thinking. And here we go. So this is kind of the next phase. We have a couple of, extra greeblies just kind of sitting around like this little coaxial connector. We've got a nice little flat toggle switch. We do have this other switchboard down here. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to be for decorative purposes. And then we have two switches right here that will be for the fiber optics and maybe the cockpit or something like that. I think the top blue one will be for the engine. And then, yeah, other than that, we do have our hard drive motor down here at the bottom, and that's kind of cool. I want to go ahead and make some form of like switch panel at the very top right-hand side, and then of course also finish up the lower left-hand side as well. So yeah, this is actually a very kind of cool project. None of this really makes any sense, but once I go ahead and get this all painted and installed, I'm really hoping it's going to look a bit more like the Star Wars cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. Got a couple of pictures I've been referencing, so there's some pinstriping I want to go ahead and do. I'm going to paint it all a black color and then come in with some extra punched out foam for maybe some buttons, maybe some extra, switches. And I say that with quotation marks. And we're just going to have fun with it and make it look a little bit cooler than just having a box with, nothing on it. So that is it for us today, guys. I have a lot more work to do, a lot more thinking, a lot more figuring I need to go ahead and take care of. But I think we're in a really good place to go ahead and call it quits for today. Next time, we'll get back on the base. So until our next episode, guys, you know the drill. Go out there and get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. And we'll see you back here on episode number 10, the Lando Falcon here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Thanks so much, everybody. Be safe and take care.